In England, news of their arrival spread quickly, and a large crowd was on hand to greet the party at Charing Cross Station. An English theosophist described Krishnamurti on arrival as an odd figure, with long black hair falling almost to his shoulders and enormous dark eyes, which had a vacant look in them.
When I went to Europe for the first time, I lived among people who were wealthy and well-educated, who held positions of social authority. I walked about the streets, watching the faces of people. I went to theaters. I saw how people amuse themselves, trying to forget their unhappiness. I saw people with political, social, or religious power. I watched the amusements of the young people. I saw people who desired to serve, going into those quarters where the poor and degraded lived. They desired to help, but were themselves helpless. How can you cure another of disease if you are yourself a victim of that disease? I questioned everything because I wanted to find out for myself.
Annie Besant gave 3 stirring lectures at the Queen's Hall in London. The movement was gathering force. When she returned to India, the boy's education began under a series of tutors. The young man was constantly surrounded by teachers and attentive followers. Never allowed to be alone, he longed for a more normal life. He grew dissatisfied and lost all interest in the role he was being prepared for. In the summer of 1914, England plunged into the Great War. Communications collapsed and the boy's seclusion intensified. Krishnamurti became more and more restless. Annie Besant wrote and reminded him, as she often did, that his happiness would lie only in the work ahead. Though he felt a deep love and loyalty for Mrs. Besant, inwardly, a quiet revolution was unfolding.
I have long been in revolt from all things, from the authority of others, from the instruction of others, from the knowledge of others. I would not accept anything as truth until I found the truth for myself. I never opposed the ideas of others, but I would not accept their authority or their theory of life. Until I was in that state of revolt, until I became dissatisfied with everything, with every creed, with every dogma and belief, I was not able to find the truth.
The boys worked hard to pass their college entrance examinations. Nitya had little difficulty, but Krishnamurti was a slow and indifferent student. To everyone's disappointment, it became clear that he would not be accepted by either Oxford or Cambridge. The close of the war in 1918 brought increased activity among theosophists. In India, Annie Besant was deeply absorbed in problems of education and political action. She was in the forefront of the struggle for Indian independence, along with Gandhi and others. But in her lectures, she continued to proclaim the importance of the world teacher and his message for humanity. Krishnamurti was maturing slowly, and after a 10-year absence from his native country, it was decided that his work would begin at Adyar. In late December, the brothers arrived in Bombay. For Mrs. Besant, the long-awaited day had finally come as the 2 brothers, who left as boys, returned as men.
When I came to India, I saw that the people there were deluding themselves equally, carrying on the same old traditions, treating women cruelly. At the same time, they called themselves very religious and painted their faces with ashes. In India, they may have the most sacred books in the world. They may have the greatest philosophies. They may have constructed wonderful temples in the past, but none of these was able to give me what I wanted.